And welcome back to Joe on Joe. It's me, your host, Joe Slepsky, and this is the only podcast where we watch every episode of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero in sequential order and comment on it Mystery Science style. I'm excited this week because I've got a visitor from Atlanta joining me for a great episode called Not a Ghost of a Chance. And my new friend from Atlanta, he goes by the name of, and by say goes by the name of, that's his God-given name, Clay Adams. Clay, welcome to Joe on Joe.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe. Clay is a writer, co-writer, co-creator of Fried Comics, and you can find them at www.friedcomics.com. And it's like Mad Magazine, Crack Magazine, satire kind of stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah. We say it's like Mad Magazine and Crack Magazine meets like a Quentin Tarantino film. So they're full-length stories, but they have that sort of skewed viewpoint.
Oh, very cool. And so you're primarily based on the web, but you said you can buy them. You can get some on Amazon and Comixology and things like that.
Yeah, they're only available mostly digitally on Amazon and Comixology or our website friedcomics.com. And we do have we have one book that we do have in print. You can buy a print copy off of our site.
Cool. Well, most exciting, you just started a Kickstarter for a book that you guys are calling Red Xmas. Oh, holy crap is the name of the book. And you can find that on Kickstarter. So tell us about that. So what's the format? What's the style of jokes? Like you say it's a full story. So what's the narrative of it?
Yeah, so the short pitch for Red Christmas, spelled with an X, Red Xmas, is it's so confusing. All right, it's when Mrs. Claus dies in a tragic toy accident, Santa sets out to make all those little brats pay. Now, a Santa skeptic FBI agent must team up with her wannabe elf ex-husband to save their son and Christmas.
Exciting.
So that's good. Yeah. So that's the pitch for the overall story. It's It's going to be about 4 or 5 issues when all is said and done. We have 2 issues completed now that we're collecting into one big book that we call Red Christmas. Oh, holy crap! So the main story is going to be about 48 pages. That's 2 issues of the comic. And then there's a 6-page backup starring our waitress character Frida. She's sort of like Elvira, except I guess trashier.
Is she like horror host like Elvira?
Yes, that's sort of the idea. She sends our emails. We have an email list that goes out about twice a month, every 2 weeks. Frida sends an email. And she's I call it a newsletter. It's more like an online letter column because we do it where we interact with the fans. So it's really just more of a way to chat. But
it's like Stan's soapbox.
Just like Stan's soapbox, yes. But instead of Stanley, you get Frida, who's this trashy waitress.
All right. Nothing wrong with that entirely.
That's right.
So we can find you personally on Twitter at Clay's Evil Twin.
That's me.
Does Fried Comics have a Twitter or there's
at Fried Comics. At Fried Comics, we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/friedcomics. You can always find us at friedcomics.com.
Awesome. How long have you been doing it?
So we launched the site back in 2013, was sort of the first incarnation of the site. We were putting it up as webcomics, like a page a week. And that was really like total learning experience for us, brand new doing anything like that. We rebooted it about last year and it's gone really well, actually. Fried Comics 2.0. We've focused more on audience growth now that we kind of got some of the basics, behind us. We're focusing now on audience growth and like I said, we do the online letter column about twice a month, and we got about 1,000 people on there right now, following along, chatting with Frida, and then about twice a year we'll kickstart a book. So this is our second one this year, and
sounds like a blast. Now, so
it's better every time.
So you're the co-writer along with Alexander O. Philippe. And who do you have for artistic duties on these books?
Yeah, so we've got some rotating artists. We have on the new book now, we're working with a guy named Fabio Ramacci. He's from Rome, Italy. As far as I know, he's not that Fabio. But I hear he makes a mean cappuccino.
And how's his hair?
His hair is fantastic.
No,
yeah,
he's
his
Italian.
hair is great.
Italians
Yeah, he is Italian.
Italians have good
It is
hair.
great hair. Great hair. Fun guy to talk to, fun guy to listen to, and just an incredibly talented artist. He's really knocking it out of the park on this one.
Oh,
in the past, we've worked with other artists. There's Dominique Domo Stanton, who's worked for Marvel and DC. He provided the art for our first issue, so he's doing the first 24 pages of this book, Red Christmas. So holy crap. And then Fabio takes over with the second issue, and it's gorgeous, man. It's gorgeous.
Awesome. And the Kickstarter runs from November 1st to December 1st of 2017. So whenever you're listening to this, if you hear it when it drops, get on there and help them out. What kind of prizes do you have for the Kickstarter? Like what kind of tiers?
Yeah, we got some fun, fabulous prizes, anything from $1 up to $500. And what I like to tell people, like the way Kickstarter works is that it's not like going into a store. You're not going in and buying our comic. You're actually becoming a producer on the book. So we send you the rewards as a thank you for being a producer. We also print your name in the book. And because it's a Christmas theme, we've got the naughty list, which is $100 and up, and your name will be printed in the front of the book as a producer. And the nice list is at the back of the book. That's $99 and less, and that your name goes in the back of the book there. We've got prizes ranging from we've got just the plain old book itself as a PDF. You can get some behind the scenes stuff. We've got audio commentary. I wrote a special song about Frida, since she's the star of our backup feature.
You're a musician too?
I'm a musician too. Yeah, I used to be a
wow.
professional musician. Yeah.
What do you play?
So I play guitar and I sing.
Fantastic.
So I wrote and recorded this song called Yellow Ribbon Frida, all about Frida. And it's sort of like a Mexican pop tune. Was sort of the style that matches the backup story. So we're actually making that into a record. So you can get it as an MP3 or you can get it as a 7-inch square record.
Oh, fun.
And play it on your old school phonograph.
Fun. I kickstarted a project that came with the MP3 of the music, but it also came with a cassette tape. And that
wow.
And that is something I don't have the capability to play currently.
Yeah, who does?
I know. I'm like, I've got this great cassette tape. I want to play it, but I kept a VCR and I have a record player, but I don't have any cassette players anymore.
That is super cool. I still drive an ancient Toyota 4Runner from it's from 2000, but it has a cassette player that does not work. But it actually has a cassette player, so I can say that I have one, but I couldn't play anything on it.
Well, speaking of retro, let's talk G.I. Joe. And what did it mean to you when you were a kid growing up?
Oh man, I loved it. We were chatting before the show started, and I said that I feel like I was born with a G.I. Joe action figure in my hand. That was like just about all my friends and I played when I was a kid. We would, we'd have all the figures, the action figures, put them against Cobra, and then then of course the TV show, and of course the Marvel comics. Always been a big comics guy. Love me some Joe.
Love it. I love it. What action figures? Do you recall any specific ones that were your favorites? Like any of your go-to guys?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be the lamest answer, but Snake Eyes.
No, that's not the lamest answer. That's the right answer.
Oh, it's the right only answer. Right?
It's not the only answer, but it's always the right answer. Always the right answer. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. What's your favorite Joe? Snake Eyes, the right answer. What's your least favorite Joe? Snake Eyes, the right answer. Either way, Snake Eyes is in the mix. That's
all right, good.
Yeah. That's good.
Perfect.
What happened to your collection? Did it go the way of the mom and out the door?
Yes. So Joe could never be vanquished by Cobra, but Joe was vanquished by mom. Right out the door. And my comics, I think I held on to a little bit longer, but then But then, as a young adult living in New York City, there were space considerations, there were money considerations. So I pretty much liquidated my entire comics collection. And of course, now I'm like kicking myself. I'm like, you couldn't have gotten a second job just to get a storage space somewhere.
You couldn't have kept like one box of just the good ones.
Just one.
One. Yeah. Well, I'm excited because this is going to be like reuniting you with like an old girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Like someone you're going to go like, you're going to look at them and go, I know you. And she's going to be like, I know you. Didn't we go to high school? We dated for, oh, yeah. Okay. How are you? That's what's going to happen right here.
Yeah, I'm stoked. It's like a very manly ex-girlfriend.
Well, and that's an appropriate analogy because today we were watching the episode called Not a Ghost of a Chance. We are only, for the record, this is a fourth episode away from the end of the really, really good run of the original G.I. Joe series. So we're right at the tail end. And this episode is all about Flint being jealous over an ex-boyfriend that Lady J once had. So it's a whole lot of fun. There's some introduction of some cool new characters. In a way, it almost feels like one of those spin-off episodes that sitcoms used to do a lot. Like Star Trek did it, where like they would introduce like 3 or 4 brand new characters who had a really strong storyline, and Kirk and Spock were like barely on the episode, and they were trying to spin off an episode of the show. You could say that the guys that they rescue in this episode, like they could be a test run for their own adventure hour. So I'm very excited. If you're out there on the internet, please check me out at Joe on Joe Pod. That's on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Send me an email to joeandjoepod@gmail.com. And if you want to be a guest on the show, that's where you hit me up. Let me know if you want to do it. We are doing the Canadian DIC stuff, so there's plenty of episodes to get in after we finish up the season 2 of the good stuff. So, Clay Adams from friedcomics.com, are you all ready to go?
I'm ready to rock, Joe.
Fantastic. I'm very excited. All right. Well, here we go with Not a Ghost of a Chance. Yo, Joe. I
love this opening.
I love the opening. And as I was editing my recent episodes, I realized I've watched this so many times now.
You probably sing this in your sleep.
I actually do. And I've probably been out of things to say about it for a few episodes.
Well, I just love that they tell the whole story in the song. It's incredible. And I wish that more TV shows would do that now. I miss this old school theme song where they just tell you everything that's going to happen.
I agree, whether it's live action or cartoon.
Yes.
It's just, they're so like, we don't have any time. We got to sell more advertising. We don't have time for openings. Right. It's like, no, the opening sets you up. You know who the good guys are. You know who the bad guys are. Yeah,
it's like the Incredible Hulk theme, right? Yes. Where it's like they just lay everything out. It's like an old school speech.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So absolutely agree. So this is Not a Ghost of Chance, written by Sharman DeVono. Like I said, I like this episode a lot because it's really offbeat. The storytelling on it's a little Rashomon. So
yes, it is.
It's a little stories of no, this is what happened. That's what happened. And it's just that it's like told in flashback, and then there's, there's a double cross involved. Spoiler alert.
Way to ruin the episode, Joe.
Yeah, that's what I do here. There's just a whole lot to love here. And right up top, we get a little tease that Flint is very unhappy with some aspect of this. I like seeing Scarlett and Duke in the mix too, because they were very strong in the first season. And
I just want to point out the mellow theme song here.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they change, and it's very mashy to me.
It is.
Anyway.
Very mashy. You're totally right. I agree.
Yeah.
I was last weekend. We were at Stanley's Kamikaze, and there was a vendor, and I apologize for not knowing the name of the vendor, but they were selling like custom soundtracks. They would reach out to companies, and they had one of them. They had was Masters of the Universe.
Oh yeah.
And they had gone to Mattel.
Great music here too. By the way.
Yeah, they'd gone to Mattel, and they had said, hey, we want to, put together not only it's not just the theme song, but all the extraneous music. All the fragmentary music.
Oh yeah.
And put it on. And it was. And stupidly, actually, I didn't I realized once I left the show that I didn't circle back to buy that CD. I wanted to, but I talked to them about G.I. Joe stuff, and they said it's hard working with Hasbro on it. And I'm like,
yeah.
So if anyone from Hasbro is listening, put out
this is $1 million idea.
I know there's all the Joe fans out there would love a nice compilation of this music, right?
That would do so well.
And you're a musician, so you know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
They got some good music on this show.
Yeah, really do. So on the show, we're getting a voiceover that's explaining what the whole expert of the show is, and it's by Hector Ramirez, who's an ongoing Geraldo Rivera.
Is that Geraldo? Yeah,
it's totally Geraldo. But
totally Geraldo, right?
It's funny. He's actually a crossover character. He shows up on Gem and the Holograms.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's
yes.
He looks like Gene Shalit here, though. For a minute,
totally looks like Gene Shalit. Gene Shalit, and also Stossel.
Yes.
You remember? Yeah, the Stossel.
This
guy.
is a little more Geraldo-esque right here.
It's like John Stossel with Geraldo's accent. And but what we're dealing with is there was a plane that crashed, and G.I. Joe and Cobra are uniting on a 2020 style talk show.
As they do.
Yeah, as they do.
I mean, you always have the terrorists coming on to debate.
Yeah, to debate what really happened with the downing of this secret military aircraft.
Why is the Ghost such a
and Lady J is
target?
the expert.
Hector the Ghost is a prototype experimental reconnaissance aircraft.
It's like Crossfire.
It's totally Crossfire. It's totally Crossfire. So we're getting an explanation. So this is the part where I'm talking about is kind of like where it's like so the Ghost here. This isn't a G.I. Joe plane. This is like a military regular plane. They're not saying this is a Joe plane because it's piloted. It's not like it's piloted by Ace and Slipstream. It's piloted by regular Air Force dudes.
We are tired of these
governmental things. So like those two dudes, I feel like they're this could be a soft pilot for them, like their adventures. They've got their own little logo, as you'll see when we meet them. We saw them briefly. It's actually very much like the Blackhawks logo from DC Comics.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a great book.
Like this could have been some kind of spin-off for them.
No film evidence of the attack.
I wonder if it was sort of inspired by Black Hawk.
I have a feeling it was. I mean, it's a good that hawk bird in a circle look is also used in Hawkman. Like it's a good logo look. So variations of
the animation, I feel like animation in comics, it was all like cross-pollinating all about the same time.
There were a lot of the same writers were working on. And
a lot of the same writers.
As I was describing that, it dawned on me that that's the logo that they used for G.I. Joe in like the movies. It's like a hawk.
Oh yeah.
It's like a bird eagle symbol. I think they introduced it in the toys in the early 2000s when they realized that they didn't really have a logo for the G.I. Joe team, but they really used it a lot in the live action movie marketing.
Getting a little jealous about Ron.
This is all jealousy about Ron.
So jealous of Ron.
This is so great. Flint is he loves Lady J, and he doesn't like to see some other, masculine military guy sniffing around. That's just it. I can't say I blame him. Lady J's a good-looking lady.
That's right.
We get some
better stay away that Ron.
Yeah, we get some cool dogfight action. Now, did you have any of the vehicles like the Conquest or the Night Raven or anything?
I'm sure I did. It's receding into the hazy recesses of my memory.
Okay.
This
lady's awesome.
She's like Brienne, and this is Podrick. Calling her sir.
Yes.
Sir, what can I get for you, sir?
She's totally awesome. Yes. She's Captain Phasma. You're so right. I want to know if anyone made custom action figures of her. I'm pretty sure we've never gotten a legit figure. I don't know if she has a name even, but she's pretty great. Yeah. A customized Viper outfit, a female Cobra lieutenant, which is rare. It's great.
I feel like that would be big today for like a rebooting this.
Oh yeah.
Like make her the protagonist.
Yeah.
That's your series.
You get a bunch of eels, a bunch of Night Raven pilots. So besides G.I. Joe, was there any other cartoons? Did you Masters of the Universe? Were you into that at all? Of course,
Masters of the Universe, Transformers, Super Friends. All the good stuff, man.
Do you find that those influence any of your current writing today?
I mean, probably on some level, you can't help but have that stuff sort of germinate and come out, in your own stuff. But definitely not on a conscious level. But it's all part of the DNA.
It's little pieces that like kind of help shape and form. But we're going to commercial break with our Brienne of Tarth Under Fire.
Return after these messages.
Today's Filecard features on the Cobra Viper pilot, codenamed the Enemy. File name is unknown. Primary military specialty is the infantry, and the secondary military specialties are being a Viper pilot and sabotage. You say sabotage, I say sabotage. Birthplace, various countries, because we're talking about a whole class of Cobra soldiers, and they're grade E4s. One of the nameless, faceless legions of Cobra Command. Each Cobra is highly skilled in the use of explosives, all NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms, sabotage, and the martial art. Graduated Cobra Viper School. They are qualified experts in the Scorpion machine pistol, Dragunov sniper's rifle, Uzi machine gun, and the M16. Quote, Cobras swear absolute loyalty to their fanatical leader, Cobra Commander. Their goal? To conquer the world for their own evil purpose. The Viper pilot is from early on. It's from the second set of figures. And of course, this was a time when they weren't calling them Vipers yet. So they were still kind of being called Cobra. They hadn't really nailed down calling them by, something other than just saying, these are Cobras. No. They'll make them Vipers. The organization is Cobra. It makes it easier for everybody. This guy came with the Viper, which was the giant hang glider. G.I. Joe had one and Cobra also had one. He used the same exact body as the swivel arm version of what they would call Cobra, but was just the Cobra soldier. Later on, they used the same body mold for a Python officer. He had a silver logo instead of the red logo, which is what the regular Cobra soldier had. So there's not much distinction between what would be considered a Viper pilot and what would be considered a regular Cobra soldier. So, it's pretty generic, but he did come with the sweet, sweet glider, which is very cool and very hard to get these days because it was a pretty fragile toy. So, Cobra Viper pilot, unknown because there's many of you, we salute you.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
We do have a sweet use of depth charges too.
Yeah, I love those little interstitial things too.
Yeah.
Very exciting, getting your attention.
Totally exciting. I always we said before, like I was always jealous of the Transformers because they had about like 6 or 7 different ones. It would have a different Transformer.
Yeah.
And the interstitial, and the Joes just always had just their logo. And I was always like, you couldn't like throw a couple like Snake Eyes doing a ninja move or something.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be exciting.
Throw some Joes up there.
Yeah. This is great with Cobra Commander just
chilling,
playing Fox News and just lying about everything. Like this is such a prescient episode.
And I love how he's totally relaxed, got his legs crossed, leaning back.
That's a great shot of Mindbender because the chair blocks his cape, so it looks like he's just sitting there nude.
Totally naked.
Yeah, he's just sitting there nude. I actually had the pleasure of meeting the voice of Dr. Mindbender, Brian Cummings. And,
oh wow!
Last weekend, and super nice dude. I'm going to try to get him on this show. Very friendly, and he told me
that'd be a great get.
Yeah, he told me that his Mindbender was a Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation.
Let me tell you what actually happened.
I can hear it.
I can hear it now, but strangely, I never put that together. Even though he's a big muscle bound, Eastern European dude, I never put that together. I think because the monocle of the mustache.
Now, how does Serpentor get away with telling Cobra Commander to shut up?
Well, because he's the Emperor.
Oh, he's the Emperor. He's above them.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Serpentor swooped in and took charge of Cobra. So Serpentor is running the show, and that's what's great. This second season is Cobra Commander is subservient to Serpentor.
Oh, got it.
That's a really cool animation where that little bubble popped up out of the. It's not toy accurate. But but the little bubble popped out of the Night Raven and shot at the Conquests. So this is where we go Rashomon, where we're getting Cobra's version of the story. And it's a little bit different than what the Joes say happened, but visually we get it full on represented. Actually just saw the movie Marshall, which was really good. I recommend seeing it if before it leaves the theaters. And it's got a similar style here, where there's a couple different versions of what happened, and the director Reggie Hudlin shows you each version. So you, the viewer, don't necessarily know which to believe,
right?
But because you see it all fully fleshed out,
that's always a cool format.
It's a nice trick, because yes, obviously you don't trust Cobra, you don't trust them as narrators. But then when you see it fully fleshed out and animated, it gives you a little more reason to believe, well, maybe that did happen. Like maybe
there's some truth in here.
Yeah.
It's making me think of The Killing Joke, the Alan Moore Joker story.
Check out those guys. You can see their logos, their sweet Blackhawk logos. Pretty good in this. But yeah, you're right. It is very much like Killing Joke, where this could have been how it happened. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
Yeah. That kind of wink.
Yeah.
Aren't
And that's
you overdoing it with the jealousy bit?
jumping
Just
over the
because
joke.
some
That's how I
guy's
feel the
friendly with
Joker's
Lady
origin
J
should always be
doesn't mean
treated.
there's anything going on.
Absolutely.
Whenever anyone asks you what, at the comic shop I work at, whenever anyone says, like, oh, what's the origin of the Joker? I always go, well, there's really isn't one. Like there isn't.
There isn't one. Yeah.
There's depends on what day of
We
the week
don't
it is.
know.
Right.
And we should never know.
Right. So this is scandalous what Flint is about to walk into.
Now, come on, get serious, Ron.
I'm always serious when I invite a lady to my place, Lady J.
That's an amazing line.
Casual.
It's a great line.
Casual, huh?
Wear something
Flint's so
casual
mad.
too. What a creep. This guy just got fired from Fox News.
He
That's how I
totally
feel about
did.
this guy.
But we learn
Though I haven't been to a wallpapering party
he's
since I
having
was
a
in college.
wallpapering party.
It's a wallpaper party,
Yeah.
as you do.
As you do. I feel like wallpaper party is G.I. Joe code for key party. But okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also here's the deal. Professional military guy who probably makes enough money to hire wallpaperers to do your own wallpaper. Don't look for free labor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we're beyond that, dude. Like you can't just get somebody and pay them in beer and pizza to wallpaper your house.
There's a certain age when you should be embarrassed to have your friends help you move. You just
That's
go,
right.
I'm going to pay for movers.
Absolutely. Come on, Ron.
Come on, Ron.
You created that bogus heavy metal band Cold Slither, staged the
What's
Cobra-thon,
really
sank
cool
the USS Montana
about
and the USS Flag,
what's going on with
and
Hector
attempted to
Ramirez
swindle Alaska away
is
from
that
the
he's
United
like,
States.
he's literally giving a recap of the greatest hits of Cobra for the last 2 years.
Awesome.
All these things he's talking about have happened over the course of the show. He tried to steal Alaska, created Cold Slither,
Cold Slither. I love it.
I love this because it's coming at the end of the series. This is one of the final episodes, and it's basically saying, here's the greatest hits. These Cobra really did a bunch of bad stuff.
Here's what happened.
Yeah, you have no reason to trust them. Serpents are snakes, by the way, even though I don't think they're technically alive, but he has some kind of mental command over them. They're like looking at Mindbender.
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're like the eyes in the paintings in the haunted castle that follow you around the room,
Yes. The haunted painting.
Yeah.
By attacking Cobra day and night.
There's a little bit of
G.I. Joe wasn't
backstory there.
necessary, Dr.
That
Mindbender,
Hawk,
until Cobra
according to
forced it
Mindbender,
into
Hawk is the man who
existence.
founded G.I. Joe.
Ah.
It's not true in the comics, and it's not true, I believe, like in the toy canon. But on the show, according to Mindbender, that's the case. Because, of course, in the comics...
And again, who do you believe?
Well, I believe, typically... I believe... On the show, I believe Mindbender. Like, there's no reason to not believe him, so that's kind of neat.
Right.
Because Hawk was... In the toys, he was one of the first series of toys, but he wasn't one of the main guys. And then they brought him back as General Hawk and made him in charge of things. In the comics... And actually... No, wait. Yeah, in the comics, they had... it was like Admiral Flag put together this ragtag team of Joes, So we're going to commercial. We'll revisit the origin of Joe when we get back.
These messages.
Hey, Joe and Joe listeners, you love comic books. You know that I love comic books. If you've listened to the 30 seconds of this show, I'll be talking about comics. Well, I've got a massive comic book collection that I'm actually taking the moment to pare down a little bit. I've got a whole lot of items, mostly comic books, up for sale on eBay, and I would love for you to have a crack at them. So go to eBay and do a search for the user Malone2814. That's Malone 2814. That's going to show you all the items that I have up on eBay. And if you find something that you like, check it out. There's new stuff. There's old stuff. There's hard to find stuff. And listen, when you're checking out, if you send me a note, tell me you're a Joe and Joe listener, guess what you're going to get? Guaranteed free shipping. Boom. That just happened. So head over to eBay today and do a search for user Malone2814. Thanks so much for listening.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
Yeah, you get in the first issue where there's the Admiral, and I forget the names of both guys. One of them's Flag, and they're like, we got to go rescue Dr. Burkhart, and he goes, hey, here's my team of Elite Joe soldiers. Like, we've been training for this. This is it. Later on, They introduced General Joe Colton, who was actually meant to be the 8-inch G.I. Joe from
the old school.
Yeah. And they said he's the one that actually started the G.I. Joe program before, that got him, that kind of put him together before what we saw in issue 1. Because when we saw him in issue 1,
that's
they had
very
already,
meta.
Yeah, they had trained as a team and they were together already. But in this comic universe, it's General Hawk. So I love it.
I'll buy it.
Yeah. So Clay, we like to ask all of our guests every episode, if you could be a member of the Joe or Cobra team, who would you be and what would your specialty be? Let's get a name for you. So what do you think, Mr. Clay Adams of friedcomics.com?
So I'd definitely be a Joe. I'd definitely be a good guy. Probably my name would be Nerdly.
Nerdly.
And my job would just be to like follow people around on missions and just talk about inane crap that excites me that doesn't excite anybody else. And then I'd probably be like the first one to die in the episode.
Okay. All right. So you're adding some bloodshed to it.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to add to that. I think you're an intelligence officer, is what you are.
Okay.
You're Nerdly, and you're intel, and you do go
like
on the
that.
missions, and you know every little detail about the mission.
I know everything about the mission.
And they call you Nerdly because like you go on and on and on, and you're like, did you know this building was made in 1986 and it's reinforced with concrete here and concrete there? And they're like, we don't need to know that. We've already cleared the building. Yeah. But it's really interesting because
it's very important to know this stuff, Joe. And this is why I do the research. I do the research so you don't have to. But I'm going to tell you everything that I read. Everything.
That's what I'm talking about. That's it. That's totally it. You are Nerdly.
That's Nerdly.
You are totally Nerdly. Yeah, I love it. You're the inane detailed soldier. From the intelligence side of the operation. I like it. Nerdly, welcome to the Joe team.
It's great to be here.
So on the show, we're getting a Hector Ramirez recap. Storytelling wise, I like this a lot because it's, especially because this is for kids, it's summing up the episode, but it's also it's reminding them what this payoff is that we're about to get. And it turns out the whole thing was a ruse. And
of course it was.
Yeah. And Ramirez has been on.
Nerdly could have told you that.
Oh, Nerdly. Yeah. Nerdly totally could have, because he would have noticed the small differences. He would be like, that looks like a recording. That doesn't seem live to me.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ramirez this whole time has been broadcasting from this conquest, from the C5 carrier with the Joes. And we're going to show the world live that Cobra's been attacking this plane the whole time, which is very exciting. And it's going to be
hashtag truth.
Yeah. Hashtag truth, hashtag resist. It's hard to deny actual proof. Although in this day and age, we know nothing matters. Nothing matters anymore.
Yeah.
Nothing matters.
It doesn't matter.
You can have tapes. Yeah. You can have videos. You can have financial documents. Nothing matters. People don't care.
Or you can say that you have tapes that prove your point.
Sure. Yeah, you could just say, I have proof, and never bring it up again.
Never reveal it. Why didn't Cobra think of that?
Yeah.
It seems like it's so easy.
I know. Serpentor should have been like, that's a lie and I have proof.
Exactly.
And then never produce the proof ever again.
Yeah.
Ever again. So this is cool. This is still an era where
I like this shot.
It's very cool shot. Yeah, it's a good looking shot. Here's what's funny though is the camera view that we have is actually not from. It's like there's a camera out and not of the cartoon that we're watching, but the camera on the monitors that they're watching. It was mounted in front of the C5, so there's actually a third set of aircraft that's flying in front of the C5 to give a good camera angle. That's always,
I love it.
Yeah, that's always the problem you get whenever in any medium or TV or whatever, and they're always like, we had video footage, and then they use footage from an old episode or another movie, and you're like, how did they get cameras in their room?
Yeah.
To show, really? Okay, all right.
Very carefully. Ron would have put cameras in that room.
Ron would have. Totally, yeah. Ron would have. This is neat. The plane uses voice-activated instructions, kind of like Alexa in Siri and all the various things.
We have Joe to thank.
We do. So if anyone's listening to
modern
this,
technology.
Alexa, play. Wait, hold on. Alexa, subscribe to Joe on Joe podcast. So if anyone's playing this in their house, that's what I want.
Well done.
Yeah. Ding-a-ling. So the Joes fought back Cobra. It's pretty great.
I would not have seen that coming.
No.
But I'm glad that they did.
And here comes Flint, and boy, is he steaming with rage and jealousy. He's going to settle something here.
Major, I'd like a word with you about
your wallpapering party.
But
you're one lucky guy.
So here's the deal.
Really
just because Lady J. Well, actually, no. You know what?
You in the skies, Ron. Just
let
what
me.
was it you were going to tell him, Flint?
Let me rewind this. Let me walk this back.
Wasn't what I saw.
Huh?
You know what? Hold on. Hashtag feminism. Good for you, Flint. Because really, Flint's relationship is with Lady J, right?
Right.
Flint is in love with Lady J, and Lady J loves Flint. If Lady J was catting around, his problem, he shouldn't be happy with good old Ron, but his problem really is with Lady J, right?
It's with Lady J, yeah.
And so really, when he hears that, oh, no, all Lady J does is talk about how great Flint is and this great man she has, that should cool him off, because you know what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, a red-blooded heterosexual man should totally be like, hey, Lady J, what's up? And it's on her as the partner in the relationship to be like, yeah, I got a man, and
I'm taken.
Yeah, that's great. So actually, I like that ending a lot. I think when
Get in line, Ron.
Yeah, when I first watched this, I think I was ready to call BS on it, but no, rewind that. They're two adults, and she was doing her responsibility, and when he found out that she was living up to her end, good for him.
And now you know.
And now you know, and knowing is swiping right. Or something like that. I don't know.
That is what they say.
Yeah,
yes.
It goes something like that. Clay, what did you think? First episode of G.I. Joe you've watched in probably 30 years. What'd you think of it?
Amazing. I loved it. I like that, just like you said, that whole Rashomon style of storytelling. I feel like that's super ambitious for an 80s animated cartoon.
Totally.
So that was great. And I loved seeing Geraldo. I loved seeing all these characters again. But then the music, the animation, all of it. It brought back all the memories.
That's great. Well,
Curse you, Mom.
Well, remember, if you're out there, don't forget to go to Kickstarter and look for Red Xmas. Oh, holy crap. And you can see some of Clay's work with his fried comic book output. And make sure and donate to it. Help them realize the dream.
So we're running the campaign kind of during the run up to the Christmas season. So you're in the spirit.
I like that a lot.
I like that. And then we'll finish the book. It'll come to you a little bit after Christmas. If we can step up the digital rewards and get them to you beforehand, we will.
And it'll make one of those great stocking stuffers where you go, here, exactly. You're going to get this Red Christmas comic book, and it's going to be hilarious. It's Red Christmas.
Amazing.
Oh, holy crap. Well, Nerdly, thank you so much for being a part of the Joe and Joe family and joining the Joe team.
So glad that I can be here. Thank you for giving me the chance to come on and tell you more information than you ever needed to know about my inane knowledge.
That's so cool. Awesome. I love it. Well, you know what, Clay? Thank you for joining the show. And listeners, thank you for listening. Thank you for telling your friends. Thank you for leaving me reviews on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. And now you, Joe, and Joeing is half the battle.